everyone. Tuesday afternoon here, and we are here with another conversation. And we are here today with Gregory Phillips. I'd like to welcome him to our show. So, how are you doing?
Good. Thank you, Greg. Good to be here.
Nice having you. And might as well get started. Tell us a little bit about your book and books and what genre.
Sure. Yeah. So this is my latest novel. It's called Season of Lights. It's a story of passion, ambition, escape set in the colorful, artistic underworld off-Broadway in New York City. And with this book, I wanted to tell a little bit of a different story than what's always told. You hear or you see stories, movies about people making it big on Broadway all the time. I wanted to tell a different story, the people who maybe don't make it big, but still find a lot of value from their journey as artists. So that was kind of the inspiration for this book, and I really enjoy how it came together, and it's been very well received so far. As far as genre, that's always a little bit of a tricky question for me to answer because I don't really fit a specific genre, which I kind of like. My books are often described as literary fiction, sometimes as book club fiction. There's usually a romantic element, but they're not romance novels, but they have some appeal to that audience. So it's kind of I feel like I'm kind of creating a little bit of a cross genre niche with what I've been doing.
Now, you're talking about Broadway up in New York.
Hmm.
How did you do research on that? Did you have experience with that?
I have some experience with that. So besides writing, I'm also a dancer and a musician.
Very nice.
Excuse the cough. I'm getting over a cold. And I actually lived in New York City for about a year and a half and did some off-Broadway shows while I was there. So I really pulled on that experience of mine into the book. I now live in Seattle, Washington, and I've done a number of stage shows here as well. So kind of pulling off my experiences with some of these, backstage environments and trying to give the reader a glimpse behind the curtain of what that performance world, kind of the lower level performance world, is really like.
Yeah. Now that brings me to another question because I actually have an audio book with one of mine, and the person who read it was a Broadway actress, and she's
Mm.
from New York. So now I got to ask you if you might know her. But Tess Primack, and she actually did Fiddler on the Roof,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
and what was the other one that she did? Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. No, I was never involved in those types of shows. I did more kind of dance variety shows a little bit more. It was my kind of my niche.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I know we do have some shows down here in Houston, but it's probably not the spectacular Broadway up in New York. But with all that being said, do you have any of your books on audiobooks?
Yes. This one is on audiobook. So if you look for it any place where books are sold online, there's an audio option.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Now, what inspired you to get into writing?
Wow. I've always wanted to be a writer. Since my earliest memories, I was a storyteller. Uh, my mom dug up something I wrote when I would think I was 8, handwritten, just this silly little story that I wrote. And then I wrote my first novel when I was 14. And that's it. It's not published and never will be, but it gave me that experience of writing a full-length thing at a young age. And so ever since, I've just been there's been stories in me that I've needed to write down. And over the years, I feel like my craft improved to the point that then with the first of my novels that got published, it got to a point where my craft caught up with my storytelling nature. And then I've been, honored now, as you mentioned, to have had 3 books published.
Nice. And I had a backup question with that. Now my brain just went poof. Now, with that being said, have you ever tried writing script since you were on Broadway as well? Is there?
I haven't. For me, the way I view story is, or the way the story comes to me, is in the novel format. And so I think that if I were to convert one of my stories to a screenplay, which would be very exciting, I would rather write the novel first and then work with somebody who's trained and qualified and an expert in that type of writing to convert it, rather than trying to do it myself.
I know that is definitely hard, because I've actually thought about it, and it's like, I just don't know if I can sit there and do that.
Yeah. It's a different skill set. I think to be able to convey all of what's contained in a story in something that's going to be, primarily dialogue and movement to convey what's going on, is just a very different form of writing.
Yes, because I know novels you have to get with all the details of everything, but with script it's more, you have to, the lighting, the scene, right then, right there. Not too much details, but enough with the lighting.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you have 3 books out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a website?
I do, yeah. And it's my website is just my full name, Gregory Erich Phillips. I think it shows on the screen. Note the spelling of the middle name. So if you just GregoryErichPhillips.com, you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. The same thing. It's just / Gregory Erich Phillips. That's consistent across all my social media and web outlets.
Nice. And can they get signed books from that, or?
If anybody wants a signed book, I'm happy to, work with them to get one. It's not something that I have specifically on my website. On my website, I have it linked to, order books not directly through me, but yeah, I'm happy to, work with anyone who wants a signed book, or if I'm in your area, would love to do an event and, talk to your book club or whatever group you have, and we can make some arrangements for that.
Now, that's something that we actually talked a little bit about the show, or before the show. My wording is just awful today. But do you do speaking engagements for book clubs, or?
I do, yeah. I love talking with book clubs. It's probably one of my favorite types of events to do. And, I'm in Seattle, Washington. I do travel some, but book club talks over Zoom or, Facebook Live, I think it's a great opportunity, and I've had a lot of fun doing that. So if you're listening in, you have a book club, you'd like me to come virtually to your next meeting, just reach out on my website or my social media, and I'd be happy to schedule that with you.
Now, we don't have many people offering that, so definitely thank you for doing that on this show.
Yeah.
Letting people know. And that's got to be, you must get some very interesting questions on stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to ask, what's one of the most oddest questions you've had?
It's people really like to, when you write a novel, people tend to think that it's very personal. And a book like this that does draw on some of my own personal experience, in many ways it is. But some of the oddest questions are when people assume that a character you create or something like that is a real person in your life. Or they say, well, who is this person? Who is, or in what ways did you experience that? And sometimes in novels, you put some pretty bizarre things into novels because you dramatize it, and so it's funny when people sometimes assume that that's something that you have been through or know. And for me, I like to let fiction sort of mirror life, but not copy life.
Mhm.
So, so most of the characters are, they're made up, but they perhaps draw from people I've known in life or people I've encountered in the theater arts world, for example.
I can definitely see that because I've actually had people that I know saying, "Is this character about me?" And that's from
Mhm.
a fantasy fiction book, and it's like,
Right. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
but I can definitely see that. So, with all that being said, do you actually go out and do book signings at different places around your area, or?
I do. Yeah. There's a few local bookstores in here in Western Washington where I live that have been very supportive. So I've gone to, for all three of my novels, some of those. Earlier this year, I actually went down to Atlanta, to Georgia and South Carolina, and did a little book tour. My publisher is based in Atlanta, so they had some connections around there. So that was a fun little tour and chance to meet some new people.
That's always exciting meeting the new people.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any of these planned soon, or are you just gonna? Are you
Nothing,
gonna work on a fourth book, or?
nothing's in the cards right now as far as another, tour. But again, if the opportunity arises, I'm always open to it.
Hmm. And they can definitely catch you at GregoryErichPhillips.com, and that is actually posted, and I'll be posting it on Facebook for those. For some reason, like I said, StreamYard and Facebook do not get along.
Mhm.
They will share the stream right now, but they don't get along with comments.
Mm,
So I do want to say it was nice having you on the show with us,
thank you.
and we do look forward to talking to you again. And hopefully there'll be, or there should even, hopefully something will be coming new soon for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know life is always unexpected for an author, so you could have something pop in your head any day.
Exactly. Yeah. You never know when or how the inspiration is going to come.
Very true. Very true. But again, we'd like to thank you for being on the show, and we do look forward to having you again. And until next time, everyone, adios.